Well, it's Thursday, the 8th of July. The weather is absolutely pants. It's rubbish. It's overcast. The cloud level's down to about, I would say, 200 feet. No views. It's not even what I call a half decent summer so far. But that's a very negative thing to say, because I go out every Thursday no matter what. So at least Thursday night I'm going to be camping, maybe even Friday night. I have no idea where I'm going to go. I don't have any plans. Well, the fog is starting to lift slightly. That's Black Gang Chine down there. And basically, that's Gore Cliff. I'm going to walk along the top of that. Anything interesting I'll show you. But at the moment, there's not a great deal to see, to be honest with you. Hopefully you can see the beach down below. I'll show you in better detail in a minute. I'm just going to step out on the ledge and take a few photographs. The ledge is a little bit dodgy. Got to be careful with my feet where I stand. So I'm on the ledge there. Let's have a look out over the edge. Not much of a drop, but enough to give me a headache. I'll explain this area down here in a minute. So that's Rock and End, R-O-C-K-E-N, then End. That's the most southerly point of the Isle of Wight. So it's quite an isolated beach, that. Now this area here is quite interesting. Now people actually live down here. I won't say where and what they do, because that's not fair on them. I've met them in the past. I've got friendly with them. It's an old naturist colony, nudist colony. It was unofficial, but no one disputed their right to be on the land. Well, when I say right, because they had no rights, the land belonged to someone, but the land's on the slip all the time. There was a massive slip, I think in the 70s, wiped out most of the naturist camp. They're living in caravans and sheds, etc. But there are people still living down there. It's a fascinating area. That's St. Catherine's Lighthouse. I'm just going to have a look down here. This is called Cripple Path. Yes, cripple. Apparently it can mean something that's twisted as well, and the path is very twisty. Just have a little break down here, a little bit of a rest and a little bit of a think. So this is the cliff. It's called the undercliff, the area below this cliff, but this is the actual cliff, and it runs from, well, really from Black Gang to Ventnor, and it's a cause of a lot of problems, because what it does is it allows the water to permeate underneath the cliff, down the bottom there, and that basically dries everything towards the sea. I keep mentioning this, but if you've not seen my previous videos, it's one of the big things about the Isle of Wight is it's very prone to subsidence, especially in areas like this around the south coast. So you could even bivvy down here, but it is a footpath and it's well walked. Not, you know, overly walked, but you'll probably get disturbed in the morning if you didn't get up early enough. So it provides a shelter. So if you're ever really stuck, you know, there's a bench here, you could use it to sleep on, but I wouldn't recommend that. And then basically you could plonk yourself down there, slightly damp, and yeah, you could bivvy because you've got this natural roof above you. But yeah, fascinating little area. I love this undercliff. It's something very different. So we're now approaching the Wight well to St Lawrence Tunnel, railway tunnel. Obviously it's not used anymore. I wouldn't be walking down it otherwise. You could definitely camp here. And even in there's a little place, it's just not big enough. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, I've got to get my torch out and put a mask on because this place is full of dust. Normally, not all the time. Depends which way the wind is blowing. And you can't see it until you got a torch on. So I'm putting my Petzl Swift RL on, which is very powerful light. Tighten it up a bit. I think that'll do. Let's turn it on. 1, 2, 3. Full power. Right, let's go in there. I should be on my phone really because the phone's got stabilisation built in. But they used to have mushrooms in here, or grow mushrooms in here. And the trouble is I should have my mask on, but the dust is not about today, so I'm fine. Normally, the dust is so bad, you can't see your hand in front of your face. Now, I think this is some of the rubbish the mushroom people left behind, or someone's dumped it here. Someone's dumped it here. Lovely people, they managed to drive down here and dump their rubbish. Terrible, isn't it? So yeah, it's a bit better on my phone here. Little places you could escape the train from. As I say, I should be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel soon. There's a slight curve on this, I think, or it's just the sheer distance away the actual other entrance is, which is in St Lawrence. I decided to put a mask on. Obviously I don't want to face you with the light, so yeah, the dust is really bad, really bad. I doubt you can see it, but this dust is unbelievable. I'm glad I got my mask on. I've never seen dust so thick. So the entrance the other end was fine. Now we're coming towards the St Lawrence end. The dust is unbelievable. That's the end of it. To be honest with you, I've done more Urbex in my life than I've done wild camping. I'm 63 now and I've stopped it last year. I did some pretty good sites and took some risks to get into places. And some of those places have been capped off now, so I'm glad I've done them. So I've taken up wild camping instead. Back of my normal camera now, not my phone. So hopefully you can see the entrance there and the path has been well worn. Pink winds, no, soft pink winds. So when you follow the coastal path up from St Lawrence there, come up there, 15 yards up, on your left is the tunnel. This is the trouble when you come to a place like the Isle of Wight. It's either a campsite, which you pay for, or you have to know the area. Or you could get away with bivvying, and I might even bivvy tonight, I don't know. But I haven't got a proper bivvy bag, I just put my fly sheet on top of me. Let's have a look. I've got an idea for a place which I'm going to try. There's another place down the road there called Ventnor Bay. I've done a video on it. It's full of rats. I'm not going down there. So, though it's a nice campsite, superficially, but the rats are numerous and they will chew their way into your tent if you've got food inside, which most of us have. So I'll show you a place I want to go to and give it a go, but it's very, very exposed to being seen from a long way away because there's a little hillock, but I'll show it to you in a minute. It's a lovely little place, but I might not put a tent up, I might just bivvy down there. I think you get the idea, guys. It's pretty narrow, but you can see there's a view starting to appear. And I've seen someone up here already today, so you know, it's not exactly secret, but I'm going to give it a go. I might even pitch up if I've got enough space. Damn it, if people see me, I couldn't give a damn. It's already very windy. Considering it's July, it's quite cold as well. So we've got a view going right across to St Catherine's Point there, and back into St Lawrence. Well, I got myself a can of tuna. I always carry tuna with me, obviously very high protein, and I have the stuff with either sunflower oil or olive oil, whatever, and it's the ready to eat stuff, so it's not too oily. And if it's spring water, it really sticks to the back of your throat, so a little bit of oil helps it down. So personally, I don't mind a little bit of oil. If I'm out for a night, I don't need to cook. A couple of cans of this, maybe some chicken pieces, I'm done. Well, do you know something? I might just bivvy here. The wind's died down. Well, I've decided to stay here on this mound without a tent. I've got my thermarest mat, an Ascent 300 sleeping bag from Rab, my Trekology pillow. I hope you can hear me. I'm on my phone. My batteries are flat on my wireless microphones. I've had a good night's sleep. It's actually about 4:30. I think I fell asleep just after 9 o'clock, so I've had plenty of sleep. Well, I'm up and about, just coming up to sunrise, thinking about doing a time lapse. That's where I slept last night. Everything's a bit damp, obviously, condensation, lots of water in the air, so to speak. So, yeah, stuff is pretty wet, but it'll soon dry out. I think we're going to have a reasonable day, judging by the sky. Well, I'm not going to pack yet because everything's really wet, but great view. I'm not going to see the sunrise properly, unfortunately. There's too much cloud on the horizon, so I was going to do a time lapse, but I don't think it's worth it. But overall, really good night. It's made me think about buying a bivvy bag now. Makes it all worthwhile. Well, I'm packed up, ready to go, left no trace, all that blah, blah, blah. And this is Ventnor Bay, and that's St Catherine's Lighthouse, as I probably pointed out before. I can hear oyster catchers on the beach. There's wheat ears everywhere. At the end of this bay here, of the actual bay itself, there is a wild campsite that a lot of other people use. I've done a video on it. It's called Rats and Rubbish, because it is full of rats and rubbish, so I will never go back down there again. What a beautiful place. It's one of the few wild spots on the Isle of Wight. It's collapsing. Bit of road now. This is St Lawrence. This is Undercliff Drive. Where you see that sort of red bollards there, or barriers, that next section is where the road completely collapsed. Now they've built it up a little bit, but it can't be used by vehicles basically, only bikes, horses and people on foot. But there was a huge landslip here about, I think it's probably about 10 years ago now, probably a little bit less. But yeah, it wiped out a £1 million road they just made, and it also took away a few houses. Well, at least it had them condemned, and one's about to fall. I've just seen along there as well. So yeah, this Undercliff area has got a lot of problems. Just about see the needles in the distance. Well, what a difference from yesterday. I hope you can see the view, you can see the needles. Just watching the fulmars wheeling around down there. They nest on that cliff. Hopefully I might be able to shoot them. Yeah, I'm only about 5 minutes from the car, but what a beautiful day. So at the end of that chalk cliff is the Needles, and it's so different to yesterday, so different. Well, I'm back at my car and it's the first time I've actually not bivvied, but just slept with my sleeping bag and a mat for a long, long time. So I'm going to buy myself a bivvy bag, I've decided, a good one as well. Because if I really want to go lightweight in the summer, it's got to be a bivvy bag. I slept really well. So yeah, good trip. See you next week.